Fuse.
And A's and B's and C's and D's. No? Sorry.
On the menu today? What do we have on tap today?
On tap? What do we got on tap over there?
We got Fuse.
So it's a great day. You picked an awesome day to go to the park. It's not very crowded. But there could be a negative to that, because what if some of those queues are a real pain in the asses to walk through to get to your favorite attractions? There are definitely some out there. So we'd like to take a few minutes and think about, what are some of those queues that are or would be the worst in, a completely dead walk-on situation, absolute worst case scenario, just a little station wait.
But that station wait is essential, and because if there's no station wait, some people will let you re-ride. Not talking about the assholes at Dorney Talon. Screw you guys.
Whoa! Harsh words. Well, no, I guess for this to really make sense, we have to assume there's no stay on re-ride policy. We're gonna remove that from the equation. I know that does exist, and you can find that more at regional parks. Although we got a magic deal with that at Disney just this past year.
That was so cool.
And who thought that could ever happen? So I guess really, if that could happen to us just recently, I guess technically, if you're on the right ride at the right time on the right day, it can happen anywhere. You could just get a lucky, in some cases, more than one time stay on re-ride. But let's just assume that that's not happening on whatever park you're in on that day. At the end of the day, that'll be the one takeaway, the one negative. Damn, it's a pain in the ass. I had to keep walking around on that thing. When do you start, Andrew? What do you got?
I divided my list into categories.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I'm going to say right off the bat, anything with a pre-show is going to be a pain in the ass.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Just as a general rule. So I guess we're really talking about Disney and Universal, although you can find some examples of it outside of that. I know at Magic Mountain, their Justice League, at least in the first year, they had, was it 2 pre-shows even?
Yes, that was terrible and exactly the one I was thinking of.
Double pre-show, yeah.
Yeah, so you can find that, a teeny bit here and there outside of Disney and Universal. But really, those chains is where you're going to find the pre-shows. And any ride that has that is going to be really annoying to either re-ride or just get on for the first time if there's no wait. So something, like Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, stuff like that. The Harry Potter rides.
So do we have to disqualify those for the sake of this discussion? Just move on, I guess? Just kind of admit that those are all annoying and move on? What else can we do with that? I mean, it's just kind of a given. I mean, again, we assume no re-rides, right? So we have to assume that you can't bypass the pre-show as well.
Right, you have to exit, walk back around, and go through the whole queue again, which means you have to do the pre-show again. That's our scenario that we're setting up here.
Yeah, so under that, it's those are all a pain in the ass.
I would say also we would need to add to that you've been on this ride before as well. If you haven't, then and there's nobody waiting in the queue, well then, of course, then it's part of the experience of that ride, at least for the first time.
In those very well themed rides, yeah.
But so we're going to assume that you've been on all these rides before.
Any of these, right? I mean, just to look around, especially the Primo parks in Florida, just looking around and checking the queue out is part of the experience. You're right. So that's still fun at that point to you. it's not a pain in the ass at that point. It's not a chore. Certainly, you're enjoying checking it out, seeing what the queue has to offer, how well they themed it. Is there some Easter eggs in there? Whatever.
Okay, so then the next category I have is there's no pre-show, but it's still a pain in the ass, which is I think what we're really getting at.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so then going off of that category, the first one that comes to mind is Indiana Jones at Disneyland.
Oh,
That
God.
notorious queue. It's very, very long. It's cool as shit, but it is very, very long to get. It takes forever to get to the actual station.
Absolutely.
I mean, that we're hitting it first, but I mean, I for obvious reasons, and that might be the biggest offender, really.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, there's for a queue that does not have a proper pre-show, and thank goodness it doesn't. You can imagine adding that on top of the amount of walking.
Well, they must have known, right?
I'd like to think, because I guess there is sort of the room that is the kind of the would-be pre-show, but
Right.
they don't make you sit there and watch it. It's just part of the wait, which is how every ride should be, really. But
Yes.
we've been through that before.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, that's a pain in the ass. I mean, you walk. I don't know. I never clocked it, but I don't know. Do you walk a mile for that thing? It feels like it. I don't know if it
a
is.
long time. Has anybody clocked it? Can we look that up quick?
I'm sure someone. It's Disney,
Because-
so yeah, I'm sure someone has.
Because that one is really just the most ridiculous one that I'm sure anybody's ever been on.
It's funny because, I mean, we have done that ride where it really is just like a station wait,
Yeah.
but it just takes
Yeah.
forever to get back there. And then if you want to ride it again immediately after, you have to walk all the way back to the entrance and then go all the way back. It's just,
Well, I mean, yeah, you kind of do, but you kind of don't. Like, it's not really policed that well. I mean, there's so much of it, and it's interesting that you double back along the exit. You walk along a majority of the queue
yeah.
on the exit. So, like, there is definitely places that you could sneak back in.
But you guys totally wouldn't let me. I tried to, and you're like,
Well-
no, we have to go all the way out. Like, it's another fucking half a mile.
I don't know. You're not wrong, but it's like, I don't know. It's like we've done a lot more times than you have, and I don't know. It's just out of the off chance that someone did see you, and then I don't know. It's like we're getting a little old. It's just kind of embarrassing. I don't know. That's how I feel, I guess. Like, it's not. Like, it's a great ride, but it's like, I don't know. I'm okay doing it like in ones. You do one because we always go to Disneyland more than one day every time we're there anyway. And then it's like usually you just do it, 3 or 4 times, but it's like one time a piece each time.
No, we rewrote it, and you wouldn't let me cut through, even though there was
Oh, did
nobody
we?
around. Yes, back to back.
I don't know. I don't
We
know.
might have done it 3 times in a row, but we definitely did it 2 times in a row because you wouldn't let me cut under the rope
All
and
right.
get back on the
Well, then, fuck it. Next time we'll just do it.
Good.
And we get banned from Disneyland after that, whatever.
They're not going to ban us. They'll just make us go to the back of the line.
They'll just make us pay more money, that's all. That's all they care about anyway. I mean, no way of knowing if any of this is true. The Wikipedia for the ride, they claim there that it's a half mile. So you do have to walk it back. So you are like walking a mile every round trip on that ride,
It's pretty crazy.
approximately. Yeah. All right, but it's not about that ride. So what else? What other queues? Well, I mean, you want to stay in Disney for a second? Space Mountain. I guess I'm talking. I guess we'll go World. Really, is what I'm thinking of. Anyway,
yeah.
although
They both are.
yeah, Land's a pain in the ass too, though.
Yeah, they're both really annoying.
If you're trying to re-ride, where do you get off and land? Because the actual queue to get on is not bad. Isn't it just a little bit of...
What are you thinking of, though? You're just thinking of once you got inside, because you have to wrap around. You have to. They start you off
like way outside and down, and you have to keep going around
right
and up.
down and like off to the side. Like you're way far from. You're gotta go through like the '70s mall.
That's right. No. Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I am thinking
Yeah.
that just inside. All right,
And
yeah,
then-
that's a rough one too.
And past like the old 4D show waiting area.
You gotta go past the mall food court.
Yeah, you go past the old mall food court.
Totally 80s mall.
Yeah, I don't know how many years they've used that for food. It's just people just hanging out, and then yeah, you got to go up this series of ramps, and then like you walk around the perimeter of that weird plateau area in front of Space Mountain, and then they finally let you inside. And then yeah, inside it's actually not like that long, I don't think.
No, it's not that bad once you get inside.
But they make you go through this whole rigmarole to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
I forgot about all
and
that.
like always, even if there's no one waiting, like they always make you do that every time we've been there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking of World, which is the one long tunnel.
Yeah, that one's annoying too.
We have to go, outside the park there to get to the actual ride, and that's a big bit of a walk.
And then that one, there's not even the option. I know we're not counting re-rides, but there's not even an option for that one because you get it off in a different spot. So it's like you're walking around no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a fucking ridiculous walk, both on and off.
Oh yeah, and they just
Off is also awful.
You know what I'm gonna say? Yeah, they just removed the speed ramps this past year,
Yeah.
and now it's all based on your own power of walking, and even the added steps at the end. It's like a series of stairs and ramps at the end.
It's just ramps. I don't think there's any actual stairs.
There's no stairs. I just remember it was terrible.
And I guess this is also sort of another category. Any ride that dumps you, the exit is too far from the entrance.
Oh yeah.
That is my complaint about re-rides.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get to that when we're done with Disney.
Yeah, and we did cover that in our queues episode.
Yeah, I think we did.
Where like Comet at Hershey Park is like that.
No, yeah.
They dump you in a completely different land.
Yes.
On that one, sure. But Space Mountain, especially in World, is like that. Yeah, you come out in a weird spot. It's like it takes you a minute to get your bearings. Even it's almost like where am I?
Yeah.
Because in that one, like you're inside too, and then you come back out after being inside for 20 minutes or more, and then it's like, oh, where am I now? Holy shit!
Yeah, they did a better job with that in Land, where the exit is not crazy. It's fine, and you exit pretty much next to where you enter. You're on the other side of that 4D theater, but it's still close.
Yeah, it's better anyway. Yeah, but it's still weird. Yeah, that both Space Mountains are not the best designed queues.
It's like when you get out of the ride, you should be able to see where you started, because in any family, there's always going to be one person that's not riding. If you're going with a big group, I know that's not the case with us, but if you're in a family. And
especially at Disney, yeah,
especially at Disney, you have your mom or your Brianna with you, and they're like, I'm just gonna wait here, and then it's like, well, meet us by the exit, which then they can't find or whatever.
Yeah,
you should be able to see the entrance from the exit. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that. How about Astro Orbiter at Magic Kingdom? Because you have to take an elevator up and down.
Well, that's just like a kind of a bad setup, really.
Yeah, that's just weird.
At least in terms of the queue. I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, I'm glad it was done all that time ago. But in terms of especially how insanely crowded that park gets, yeah, it's not a great setup. It just slows things down.
Yeah. Another one I have is Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios, because that exit is ridiculous.
That's right.
Where did that even take you? It was like a whole different alleyway. You started in the Pixar land or whatever the hell they call it, and then you ended up in nowhere. I don't even know where did you end up.
Right. Well, because that was a retro. They screwed around with it later. They put that ride in a different land than where it had started originally, and in order to make that work, the exit to that ride is like a mile long. It's insane.
Yeah.
So if you want to re-ride it, it's gonna take forever to get back out to the entrance.
Well, it's like you can't really at that point, because it's so absurd.
What they should have done was expanded the land the Toy Story Land into the area where the exit is. Just make that part of the land instead of just one long winding path. So, move around whatever you have to backstage to make that work. But that, the way it is right now, does not work.
Yeah, that's a bad one. And that's one that was fine, by the way, and then they made it bad.
Yes, that is true.
Which might be the only one on this list that's like that.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Where they actually, they de-evolved the queue into this really awful situation.
Maybe. I don't know if Universal really has this problem either.
Well, could we do a legacy mention?
Okay.
You know what I'm getting at. I mean, Dueling Dragons.
Well, yeah, okay, all right, if you want to mention
that was their one folly. their queue folly. That was ridiculous.
You don't even have to go back to that, because if Hagrid's was walk on right now,
Mm-hmm.
that would be terrible to walk through. I know there's a little pre-show, but whatever. Not really.
Okay,
sort of.
that's true. I mean, I remember we said that after waiting the full queue for Hagrid,
Oh god.
we said that suddenly this queue doesn't feel too long anymore. It doesn't feel ridiculous. Like it just felt like a long wait, but not too much to walk through. But in a walkthrough situation, yeah, I guess even Hagrid would be pushing it.
Yes. No, you know what? Actually, if you want to go there and you want to say, okay, we'll say we're going to include rides with pre-shows, but you just walk through the pre-show. You don't actually have to experience it. Yeah, Hagrid would still be a total pain in the ass. As opposed to, like, Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror or Haunted Mansion, where if you could just walk through those pre-shows. Actually, Fast and the Furious, we did last time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't
that's right.
that bad.
Oh, are you forgetting about all of the queue before the pre-show? That's a fucking long queue too.
Actually,
Yeah, that's
you're
actually
right. Never mind.
That's actually kind of a bad one, actually.
I take that back. You're
that's
right.
a really long one. You have to go through that courtyard, and then you have to go through the giant garage. Is there more? I feel like there's more.
There's like 2 or 3 different garages strung together.
So
yeah,
long.
and I think we've said it when we talked about the ride a way back. But there's no shortcut potential there either. So
That's
you
right.
you have to do the switchbacking through each one of those warehouse garages.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, even like if that ride somehow still exists 10 years from now, you'll still have to do that. Like there's no shortcut opportunity there. The best they can do is eliminate the pre-show, which they did on that night we were there. So that actually is an offender. Actually, it's a recent offender
Yeah.
for Universal.
Okay.
They screwed that one up big time. I thought Dudley Do Right actually was kind of rough.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying.
Like the thing about it is, it's literally like jumping in a pool, right? Going on the ride itself. The experience. So I know I've never, and I'm sure you never have. Like I've never even wanted to go on it again back to back. Like it never even occurred to me, because it's just like you're so soaked to the bone. It's like I'm done. And if anything, you do that in conjunction with Popeye.
Yeah.
And then you get like the full, complete, thorough soaking for that day. And then I'm usually not looking, I'm not usually looking to ride the most soaking flume ever made, more than once in a day anyway. So it hasn't really come up, but I guess I had to more just imagine it. Like if that was a roller coaster, just remove the ride out of the equation, which we're not really talking about rides right now. And that was a roller coaster, and that was the queue though, exactly what it is. That's a pain in the ass to have to go through that every time. It is a long walk, and that first part is like confusing. How do we always go take at least one wrong turn in that outdoor part?
Oh,
it's literally like a maze.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually another thing you could say. Just like queues that are confusing. You take a wrong turn in all the time. Every time you go on it, you go in it.
There's not many like that, but I'm sure there's more than just Dudley. But yeah, there's definitely a few of those that are. That's just bad design, though.
Right.
But yeah, there is more than one that's happened to us where it's like, oh shit, wrong way.
Right. Every time. Yeah.
Yeah. But Dudley definitely, it's all that like cartoon yellow painted fence, and it's just like all a maze like everywhere around you, and it's so hard to know where to go.
Right. And I guess they were trying to make it sort of whimsical. They didn't want to do just a straight switchback pad. but it's just a mess.
It's too much there, though. It's too much.
It's like somebody has to have like a master plan somewhere of like how to string all of it up. Otherwise, I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah.
Like if you ever needed to use the entire thing, it's like, I was like, all right, where's the guide? Because get it, it's in the control room.
I think we've proven Universal is not exempt from this. I think they have their own rough, queues. Some of them are overly long. They rarely, if ever, get full.
One last one that is sort of like Dudley. I mean, I'm sure there are others, but just Transformers is actually a little bit like that too, where they didn't build in switchback pads, and it's pretty long, so you have to walk through the whole thing. And we've done that. Like every time we do Transformers, it's a walk on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a rough one too.
Well, it's like I know for myself, I'll never wait for that ride ever. So
Right.
like I'll do it, but it has to always be a walk on for me to do it. So yeah, it's all we ever do, and then it's a long walk. It takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an opinion of mine. If it's a walk-on, the walk-on should not take longer than the ride. Like the actual walk from entrance to ride should not take longer than the actual ride.
Okay, that's not a bad like rule of thumb.
And you can say that like understanding that for the most crowded days, the queues do need to have a certain length, and of course they do.
Right.
And I think we're all fine with that, but and I'm gonna now I'll stay in Universal. I'll point to Spider-Man as a shining example of how you should do it, where that queue can be very long, but they built it in such a way that when it's not that crowded, you can shortcut through a lot of it.
Right.
And it's not just speed rail, with a couple of chains that you have to move around either. They did it in the typical highly themed fashion that Universal does, but they figured it out.
All right. So I'm going to go back to Transformers for a second.
Oh God.
No, just for a second.
It's a bad ride.
If they could put some of those fucking little chains that they just changed the direction of the thing a little bit, that would make it suck less.
Well, yeah, if they did the Spider-Man, if they figured out how to have a couple of rooms that are separate off to the side.
Okay.
But they didn't, so.
So from there, I'm going to dive into what I was thinking about a minute ago. Six Flags Great Adventure. Joker opened, and you had to do this giant switchback back and forth all through that covered tent area before you could walk through the rest of it. And I had never had to wait through that, and that was really annoying. And the next year, they actually opened up one side of it where it was solid
speed rail.
Thank you. And now you can like walk through that if there is no line. Mm-hmm. So they actually, Six Flags did something right. So there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, that was a good move.
Yeah, there are a couple of rides in that park that are annoying to re-ride. Nitro is one of them because the exit is pretty far from the entrance, and it's also just kind of a long walk to even just get to the station from the entrance.
Yeah, Nitro was on my list. Yeah,
Nitro was also on my list,
and it's funny. It's one of your favorite rides, but yet.
And like, there's always people standing by the photo thing. Like, even if there's only one other person on the ride, they're like blocking your way from getting the hell out of there.
That is a bad one.
So that's it. That's all I've got.
That's annoying.
So funny, and they've never fixed that. You just brought up about how they fixed Joker after only one season, but they've never addressed Nitro's situation.
And another one that's annoying in that park is Superman, because that's another station that's pretty far from the entrance.
Oh yeah, well it's like getting outside the park, pretty much.
Well, yeah, it's a parking lot coaster.
And what makes that one and Green Lantern both really annoying is you can't really tell how bad the line is until you're getting closer. I know that's not really relevant to this because we're talking about no line, but like even more so with Green Lantern because all of the switchback is like behind the station and you're walking in front of the station the whole time.
Yeah, that's sneaky.
But yeah, Green Lantern and Superman are both ridiculously long from the entrance to the actual ride.
Yeah, you threw in Green Lantern, the two rides, they're next to each other, and the equally annoying queues. That's a funny thing about the idea of not being able to see the wait. That doesn't apply since they give you advertised wait times in Disney and Universal, which we were just talking about. But now, if we're going to get out into the regional parks, you know, even regional parks that do attempt to give you a wait time at the entrance, it's really always bullshit. And we know that. We've been to these parks enough that we know that it's not, you can't trust it.
Right.
So actually being able to get some kind of visual confirmation on the wait is more important than you might think in a regional park. And then that is a tough thing when there's those few rides in the park that you just cannot see, and you have to just like do it. You got to get online, and then that's where you figure it out. And then those are always the ones. It's not just us. You'll see other people, other locals, like walking back a lot.
Yes.
Because, you know, they had to do the same thing. They had to just scout it out, get online first, and then they realize it's too long for them. And then I've done that before. That's a full 45 minutes. No, not worth it for this ride. And then they're walking back.
Yeah.
That is annoying. And like the best thing you could do with those is like try to, and like when you're on Green Lantern, you could always get a view of the queue for Superman as you're going up the lift hill.
Yeah.
You know, and then you try to take a peek and see what that ride's doing, and like, all right, is that worth doing next or not? And I guess to a certain extent, vice versa, you can see it, but not really. You really can't see Green Lantern from anywhere besides the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that one really does suck. Like you have to engage into the queue before you know what's going on.
And like really far.
And yeah, really.
Like it's not
far.
like you walk 10 feet in and you can see it. Like you have to walk all the fucking way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And that's funny. It's not the same ride, but that could be a contender for taking a queue and making it worse, because it's the Scream Machine queue done worse.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it did transition to a different ride when they did it, but still, it's the same queue, and then they actually made it worse because they took what was already a long walk to the Scream Machine station and made it even longer, and by adding a switchback pad right before the station, which Scream Machine did not have, which is really nasty.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it has a switchback pad at the front. Now you just walk straight through that. They did make that where you could shortcut through it.
Thank goodness for that.
They did do that. I think that might have not been to like the second or third year of Green Lantern.
But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't modify that at first.
That's terrible.
Yeah, you see, Andrew remembers that. You used to have to go through the whole thing.
Because
Or
I
cut
remember,
green.
yeah, we were like, why did they leave this? What were they thinking?
Because they added the other switchback pad at that point, so then like no one was ever going to wait in that first one, because that would be like a 4-hour wait for that ride.
Yeah.
Oh god, at least just like I said,
Maybe 5.
Even
yeah.
if you took out the queue, the switchback closer to the station,
Yeah.
that fucking queue, the rest of it to get to that switchback is so long that I cannot imagine that it would ever be full. At least maybe the year it opened, but since then,
No, not even then.
yeah. So there you go. Medusa.
I guess those are the worst. Oh, no, it's
Okay,
just
so-
not that bad, is it?
They change where they shove their garbage cans every once in a while and make it shorter or longer, even though it's usually not more than those stairs of a wait. You get the station and the stairs, but they'll make you walk around further.
Well, you shortcut the switchback pads though.
Yeah. that's
Always.
true.
That's like since opening year.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that
still like if you're rewriting though, it's a little bit of a. It's not as bad as Nitro or any of the others we just mentioned, but it's a little annoying.
it's a little annoying. I think that might be more. It's just that ride is kind of where it was placed is kind of far away from everything else.
That too.
Yeah, you got to walk a while to get to the ride itself.
But-
Yeah.
And then the station's one of the highest. It's up in that category of one of the highest ones.
Yeah, a lot of stairs.
So
But
that's the problem with that one.
But if we ignore that, we're just saying it's annoying to either walk through the first time or for re-rides. I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, the stairs are probably the worst part of that.
Yeah, that one I think is more nitpicking. No, but we're done with Great Adventure because you got Zumanjaro.
Oh, that's so long. I completely forgot about that.
So I
Oh
think you guys
my
are forgetting
god.
about the other big one there. Yeah, that's the one to complain about.
Yeah, we totally forgot about that. I'm going to speak for both of us right there.
I know part of it is because we don't really ride it most years.
I did it the one time and that was it.
Same.
Yeah, and I did it just
I
twice.
walked it twice, but I rode it once.
So I did it 3 times, I guess. I did it 3 times. But yeah, that's terrible. And that is a real trek out there.
Yeah, I mean, when you exit, do you go back? Do you double back the same way you come in? I can't remember.
Yes, you have to double back the entire thing. So that you know what, that actually might be about Indiana Jones' length, just bare bones.
Yeah, no theming, just a little bit of fence and some greenery.
Ooh, okay.
But I don't know if it's really much shorter. It is really ridiculous
Yeah, it really might not be.
because you have to. It's like they couldn't even do a straight line distance because you can't go under a Kingda Ka's track. So, like under the launch track. So it's like you have to take this weird long curve out and around the backside of Kingda Ka and then finally into more of a queue proper for Zumanjaro and then the ride station. But like that takes forever.
Yeah.
So that's terrible. Yeah, Great Adventure actually, yeah, they're pretty bad with that, huh? So what else do we have? Are we staying, do we have any other Six Flags parks?
Yeah, I got it. I got some.
Oh, all right. What do we got?
Well, Riddler at Magic Mountain. That's a trek.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's a long walk, and that's usually a station wait too. Whenever we do it.
Yeah, I've never seen more than a station wait. Yeah, it's crazy. And there's a lot of steps when you get into the station.
Oh yes, that's true.
So like your reward, and it's like there's this long
Your
outside
reward.
part that you can't bypass. And then then your reward after all that is the steps.
I was gonna say, Superman in that park isn't terrible. I think that's more of like the ride is just really far from everything.
Well, you have to go to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, but I don't think the queue itself is so bad and the exit is so bad for re-rides.
No, we actually did that last time, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Apocalypse, kinda.
Yeah, sort of. It's a little lengthy.
Like when it was Terminator, it actually had pre-show. One or two of them, right? Was it two?
Oh shit! I think it had two. I think you're
I
right.
think it was a double pre-show, yeah. So that was terrible. Now you walk right through that stuff because there's no real theme, there's no movie theme, but it's kind of long.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, I think. I don't know. I mean, yeah, the rest of that park, I don't know. It's like Tatsu is like you got to walk up a whole bunch.
There's like that and Viper. There's like just like a lot of stairs involved, but they're not so bad. Like if there was nobody there, well, for Viper we never really had to wait, but for Tatsu we always had to wait. But even if there wasn't anyone there, I don't think it'd be so bad. It's just kind of a bunch of stairs.
Yeah.
I do have other Six
Right.
Flags ones though.
Oh, you have other Six Flags ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
At Great America, Raging Bull that's a walk.
Oh, yeah.
And I always forget about it
Yes.
until I walk in that queue, and then it just keeps going and going, and it's like, oh, that's right, that station is really far away, isn't it? And you gotta walk up a bunch of stairs.
And then it's really high too, yeah. Yeah, and there's a switchback pad like right there at the entrance. Like,
Aren't there
that
even
could be
two
used.
houses? Are there two
What?
boathouses? There might be two boathouses.
Is it even two? It might. Yeah, maybe it's even two. And then there's that long one-way walk, and then the stairs, and then the station.
Yeah, and then the exit is a long walk, so to re-ride that is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
And then Viper in that park. Isn't that pretty far too?
Ah,
I know we took a wrong turn last time we were there. I got
took a
confused and
wrong-
I led us down the wrong way.
we took
And-
a wrong turn.
And an employee, like said, like, "Wait, this isn't. Where are you going? Where are you?"
It was like we were going into like the water park exit entrance or something.
Yeah.
Or exit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there shouldn't have been a way for me to do that. That shouldn't have been allowed to happen, but it did.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Viper. It's a wooden coaster there.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, now I totally remember that. Yeah. Yes. It runs parallel with the water park pathway, which I think is both the entrance and exit to the water park there. And it happened to be early in the day, I think. So like the water park wasn't open yet or something. And it was like the lifeguards were just getting there. And after a while, it was like us walking with like the lifeguards. And they were there. I was like, where are you guys going? The water park's been open for like another hour. Where are you going? Yeah. And then it was like, oh, this is not Viper? And they're like, no, it's like back over there. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, that really shouldn't be allowed to happen. Like, how do they not put a little rope or chain or something up to
Yeah.
kind of steer you in the right direction?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But Viper's just a long walk anyway. So if for some reason you want to re-ride that a lot, I don't know anybody who does, but like that would be a pain in the ass.
It's not a bad ride. It's really not.
It's not as bad as I know. We forget about it and then we go on it. And it's pretty good. But also right at that same park, the same side, American Eagle.
Oh my God, that's a bad one. I forgot about that. Holy crap. No, and it's not just the length of it. It's like you got to walk up and down stairs several times and go across a roadway and go underneath the station. And oh man, it's a total disaster.
Yes, it's up and down like multiple times. It's a workout to get there. And I was going to say we actually did it because it is a two-sided ride. And you usually do want to do it twice every time you go.
Yeah.
If both sides are open. And like last time we were there, they were, which was rare for us to see. And so we had to deal with it just this most past time, last year, 2019, where we actually did have to walk around. And yeah, that's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Yeah, and there's no shortcut, right?
Not that I know, not that I can see, not an official one. No, it's totally outside the park. Yeah, across like a maintenance access road. That's one of the worst ever. Yeah.
Are you talking like New England entrance style? Like you're really just going up and around and over the road and stuff?
You have to go up to go over and then go down. And then, you go under the station at that point because you're totally on the ground. And then you have to go up again to get into the actual station where the loading platform. So it's, so it's up, down, up to get in. And then I guess it's down, up, down to get out.
What is that reminding me of? The good Harry Potter ride? If you do one of the sides, you have to like do a weird stair thing after.
Oh, Gringotts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, we can go back to where we started. Indiana Jones, depending on what side you were on when you get off, you have to go up and over.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
So that too, like, again, talk about like a reward at the end. Like you went through this ridiculous half-mile queue, and then you have to go up and over a bridge to start the walk back. Just to start the half-mile walk back. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
Just give me a straight in, maybe a little bit of a ramp, but come on, none of this stairs bullshit.
I'm telling you, Kumba, it's like the perfect queue.
No, I know that. Yeah.
Like a queue-gasm. Is like the best queue ever.
That's like everything's right. It's on the ground. It's entrance and exit are like right next to each other.
Yeah.
And there's enough switchback, I guess, for a crowded, if that ride ever gets crowded anymore.
Yeah.
But yet it's all, you're able to bypass all of it and go straight in if you need to.
Queue-gasm.
Right.
So it's perfect.
Yeah, Kumba is the exact opposite of everything we're talking about. Yeah, that's like the most perfect queue for re-rides.
Yes.
Yeah, or just for any rides. It's so great. Yeah, it's so great.
All right. We challenge our listeners to present us with a better queue.
But and I'm just thinking real quick, because we just said Kumba. I think Busch actually does a pretty good job overall.
They do.
I was almost going to say, you know what, might be a close runner-up to Kumba, and it's another one of the best rides ever made, too, which is just icing on the cake. Applengeist.
Oh, okay.
That is also an incredible setup. And for it being an invert, too. They didn't elevate the fuck out of the station. Like, it's also just about ground. I think you go up a little grade, but it's not that perceptible if you're not really thinking about it. And again, it's a decent length queue, but most of it is able to be bypassed when it's not crowded. And then the only thing is you don't exit exactly where you entered. It's a little further away than Kumba. You're really on the other side of the station, but it's still, you go into the same plaza. It's close enough. So that's why I'd say it's a close runner-up. Not as perfect as Kumba, but it's close.
It's funny because I really thought that you were going to say Montu, which is almost like you can just repeat everything you said because it's almost identical
to what I said.
To what you said. I mean,
almost, but I think you have to walk through a little bit more of the crumbling Egyptian area.
Yeah, the exit's a little. It's not right on top of the entrance, but like getting on and off is not terrible.
It's not, and that's why I think Busch does a good job overall.
All right, good job, Busch.
At least old Busch did do a great job with those rides.
Six Flags could learn a lesson.
I think. But yeah, I think each one we're mentioning gets a little further away. Like Montu's a little worse than Alpengeist, though.
Okay.
Because there is a bunch of stairs at the exit that you go down.
I forgot about that.
And you do have to go through a gift shop.
That gift shop.
Which is a pain in the ass. And I like the fact that Williamsburg didn't do that with any of the rides.
But you know, speaking of Busch, well, I'm going to bring up SeaWorld. Both the Mantas are a little annoying because you have to walk through like an aquarium to get to the ride.
Oh, yeah.
They're both a little long. Both the San Diego Manta and the Orlando Manta.
The San Diego one because that we did on a dead day with walk-ons. And I remember that was one of those where I think we may have done it one or two more times than we did if it wasn't such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, okay.
I think it got to that point in the day where we were looking at each other and like, want to do it again? And we're just like, that walk though. All right, forget it. Let's go.
That's the one where you had the elevator option or something.
Well, I think because it was so dead, we did. I think it was supposed to be for handicap access only. But I think we did steal a ride in the elevator at one point just to make it a little easier on ourselves because that was rough.
Yeah, that one you have to walk down and then back up again, right?
I
Because you
believe
went like
so.
under the ride, kinda.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah, that was nasty. Yeah. Okay. What was the next one you had? You wanted to move on?
Motherfucking Dorney Park
Now we're going to go to Cedar Fair.
and their goddamn Talon. I love that ride.
Oh, Talon, huh?
And that fucking queue is really annoying, and the walk off is really far compared to it's not really far, but like for re-riding with no line, oh my god, that one's so annoying.
The station is always a lot farther than I remember, and because you have to walk almost the entire length of the ride to get to it, and you have stairs.
And it's another station in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like unlike one thing that Six Flags does do, I think is have the ramp at the exit. I know it's for the handicapped people, but like when you're tired at the end of the day, I'm kind of digging the downward ramp where Cedar Fair is not a big fan of that. They like their stairs. And like we're doing a lot of end of the night Talons and I'm exhausted and it's really far and we want to try and get two in and I'm like, I have to climb down these stairs at my own pace, otherwise I'm going to face plant. And
they're weird steep steps on that one, right?
they're weird steep steps.
For some reason on that ride in particular, you tweak your ankle one time?
Like 6 times.
Yeah,
almost every time I'm like trying to rush down them so we can get on it again. And like, I'll turn my ankle funny and like, no, it's fine. I can keep going.
There's something about those stairs. I guess they're just a little off from the usual dimensions or something.
Yeah, they're like a half a millimeter too high or too short. They fuck with me for some reason. And it's just, and then like to get back on, you have to go all the way through the fenced area. Like you couldn't even duck through if you wanted to. It's like full 6-foot fence or whatever.
Yeah.
And go all the way out and then go all the way back in the long one-way other fence.
Right, there's no shortcut.
And there's nobody there. They're still assholes and won't let you re-ride. Which I know isn't supposed to be part of this, but it still pisses me off.
And Steel Force used to be better. This is another one. This is like, what did we say was like this, where they made it worse?
Well, Toy Story Midway Mania.
Oh, right. Yeah, this falls into that category because, yes, it's a bunch of stairs to get up to the station on that ride. It was a bunch of years ago that they changed this, where you used to be able to go straight into the station once you got to the top of the stairs. But now they make you walk all the way around and do at least one switchback section because the shortcut is for like the fast pass people, whatever they call it there, fast lane or quick queue, whatever it is.
Yeah, fast lane.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say is
so
now it's for the fast holes.
Yeah. That's something I forget about every time too. And then as soon as I hit the top of those stairs, it's like, oh, that's right, they blocked this off. Damn it.
Yeah, and it's getting to a point now where I think it may have been changed for an equal number, if not more years than it was the old way that we remember. But for some reason, I know it sticks in your head. Like I still remember the way it was in like the early 2000s.
Right. That's not the worst one, but that's kind of annoying.
It's not. Well, that's good. That's a good example of one that was made worse.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that one just for the stairs and the having to walk around. I had never experienced it the quicker way.
Yeah, the good old days.
Oh, can I go back to Six Flags just for a minute?
Of
Yeah,
course.
sure.
You're gonna have to help me out here. Was it Six Flags St. Louis, Batman the Ride, or Six Flags Over Georgia, Batman the Ride, or both? That the queue is humongous.
I believe that's St. Louis.
Okay, and it's a long walk to get to the station.
Because in St. Louis, both times we were there, that ride did not have a wait, and then I do believe it is a longer walk than the other Batman, to get on. Over Georgia, my memory of that one is the fact that we waited like an hour for it.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
It was like a full queue. I don't believe it was ridiculously long. I think it was actually maybe the Gotham City Park was a bit smaller than Great Adventure.
I remember that.
I think it was like the half-size park, one of those versions. But we did wait like the entire thing. We waited the park and the inside queue. I just remember that, waiting a long time for that ride. Really for the credit, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things, like, I wonder if we would do the same thing today. How times change,
Actually, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
That was a decade ago we were at that park. So, I mean, we were more credit hungry still then. I don't know if I would do the same thing today.
I want to say that you wouldn't, because I feel like we went somewhere and you were like, you don't need that credit. You've ridden that somewhere else. I don't remember where.
Yeah, I mean, really, if it's just a clone ride, it's like you're not really going to get much new out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd wait a little bit for it, but an hour, that was a lot.
But anyway, getting back to Six Flags St. Louis, I remember there were like no kidding, like 5 separate switchback pads or something. There were so much queue.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we didn't have to walk through all of it, though. I know that was
No.
one of those ones that was a spectacle. It was just a spectacle to see it. And it was one of those mind-blowing ones because it was a mostly dead day. And then to look at all this and be like, holy shit, there's another one behind. And then I think there was a door, and I peeked through the door, and there was more switchback, like,
Yeah.
behind the building. So there was like another overflow switchback on top of the giant switchbacks that we saw, that we walked past. And it was like, what it was, 8-hour wait? Like, if all this was full?
Yeah, it was totally crazy.
Yeah. It was really absurd how much queue there is for that Batman there. Well, you make it mirror image, and I don't know, it's a whole new ride. Everybody loves it. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that one. That's a good callback. But now, now you got my mind in that park. Mr. Freeze in that park.
That's a little bit of a walk, yeah.
That's a nasty one. You have to walk. I mean, the ride essentially is on an island in the middle of the rapids, is like what it is. And you have to like walk over the rapids, and then, which isn't, I mean, rapids troughs aren't that wide. It's not like it's a huge bridge or anything, but you do bridge over them, and then it's like a long one-way walk in and out of that thing.
Yeah, you're right, because the actual entrance is on the other side of the rapids. You're right. So that is actual queue where you have to cross it.
Yeah, and then like you essentially have to walk past the entire ride.
Yeah.
You walk the entire length of the ride, you see the whole thing, you pass, and then you finally get into the building, and then there's more walking inside. Though it's not like you're right there.
Right.
There's a little bit of Mr. Freeze's hideout from Batman and Robin theme going on, and you got to walk through that crap, and then finally you're in the station.
Okay.
So that's a kind of a bad one too. Yeah, there's a lot of bad reride queues, really, when you think about it. There's probably more out there than when you start thinking about it, than you realize.
Going back to Cedar Fair?
Well, now with Cedar Fair, now I'm just thinking about the former Paramount parks,
Aha!
and that was something we picked up on like many years ago when we're not even remotely as well traveled as we are now, and yet we noticed how like the Paramount just loved those long one-way queues. They seem to avoid switchback pads for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know how you could not notice it.
Yeah, like we definitely noticed that big time. Like from the very first time we went to those parks, like King's Dominion and then eventually King's Island. But of course, what that does is that it's murder on rerides. Having these nothing but one-way queues. I mean, it's another legacy mention, but I mean the rapids at King's Island. will forever be in my mind as how absurd. I mean, it's not like they changed it after they built Timbers.
Okay.
I know you've done it. You've actually rode the rapids with me since you've been going there, and you saw what it is now. And it's still a little bit of a walk now. Even you have to cross the train tracks. It's like a little ridiculous, but it used to be like double, I think, what it is now.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Essentially, the entire area that the queue and station and the shed for Mystic Timbers, that whole area that sits on, that was all like a wooded queue for the rapids.
Ugh.
And like wrapped around, like it started out like next to a funnel cake stand or something, and you had to like wrapped around that building, and then you were but it was very heavily wooded, so it was hard to tell once you got around the building where you were. Now that it's all developed, it's easier to see now that it's developed. But like at that time, you couldn't really tell where you were, and it just felt like you were walking in the woods forever.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was like it didn't take long once you entered that queue to feel like you were just out in the wild.
You're
like it felt like you were very far from the park very quickly.
Yeah, because like you really couldn't. All of a sudden, you couldn't hear any other rides or anything, and it was just quiet. And it was like, where are we? Where's this ride?
Yeah, and you couldn't hear the rapids. It took a while to even hear the rapids ride. So it was like silence for a while.
Yeah, so you had to go, and you were just in the woods, and then finally it opened up, and it was that bridge, and you had to do a giant bridge over, like into the rapids area.
It's so creepy, so weird.
Yeah, and then like that bridge is still there, but now you join up with it much sooner. And I guess that was pre-Paramount, even, to be fair.
Okay.
When that was put in, I don't know, of the rides that are still going.
Well, I mean,
queues, like what else?
The Bat.
Oh, the Bat, of course.
That's totally crazy.
That takes the taco.
So the thing that takes the taco?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing with that one is like you have Indiana Jones and like you get to the end and it's a really great ride.
I know where you're going with this. No.
You walk for 20
I'm out of here.
Oh no.
You walk for 27 miles and then you get to this fucking bat and like I know it's an arrow and it's Be Cool's favorite thing ever, the arrow rides, but like come on.
It's a freaking classic. Come on. It's the best of those still standing.
Yeah, well,
in this country.
I got nothing nice to say.
Oh no. At least with that one, there is a part where the speed rail just stops. It's kind of early on though, or early-ish on. I think once you go through that tunnel, there is a bit of a shortcut there, but you're still like too far from the station.
It's up there with Superman and Green Lantern, where you cannot tell how much of a wait there is until you get pretty fucking close. So, and you've already walked a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile, depending where you're coming from. Oh, that.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I think there is a shortcut that's closer to this station, I want to say.
Is there a little switchback pad under the station, like directly under it? Is that what you're thinking?
No, not there. Before you get to that part, where you're still like on the not mountainside, but whatever that area is.
Oh yeah, there is one cut through.
I think there's one over there.
There is, yes, there is. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Rebel Yell, or whatever it's called now, is.
What do you mean?
They changed the name.
They did?
Yeah, you forgot about that?
Yeah, when did this happen?
A couple years ago. Oh. I think it's called Racer 75 or something now.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about this.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but
What park are we in now?
King's Dominion.
Okay.
Also, 2018 they changed it. Whoa.
Yeah, all right, so I was right a couple years ago. I don't know, it's still Rebel Yell to me. But that one's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
You have to wind around a lot.
But that's another one where the entrance changed once or twice, right? At least once.
Yes.
So I don't know what the deal with that was originally.
I believe, yeah, they messed with that. Well, that's when they did the Wayne's World thing, and it took me so many years to go into that park, and I finally found out that it used to also have the same entrance like the racer does at Kings Island. But they bulldozed it. They had a replica of that decorative roofed building. All right, I mean, but now we're almost getting into nitpick territory. I don't know. Was there anything else that's like really bad?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you Top Thrill Dragster. Even though there's a shit ton of switchbacks that you can bypass, it's still a really long walk because we did walk onto that, and it was a long walk around to rewrite it. That was brutal.
Because you have to walk like the entire length of the ride.
And it's a fucking long ride.
Yeah, you enter in. Well, not the entire length. That's unfair.
Almost.
I mean, you're not at the tower, but
Half.
you might be 2/3 of the way up. Yeah, and then you have to walk back to the station. It is a little bit of a mind fuck when you're like, if you're coming from the front part of the park, and like you walk right alongside the stations right on the midway, of course, for Dragster, and like, oh, here we are, Dragster, and like you do have to walk like a half mile more to get to the entrance.
Yeah.
And then you have to walk that entire distance back to get, as part of the queue. So it's like, that is kind of rough if you're coming from that way.
Yeah, my first time, I'm like, where the hell are we going? The ride's over there.
Yeah, like you thought I forgot what I was doing.
I'm
like,
what are we doing?
did you pass the ride? Did you forget where it was?
I thought we were going on this. Where are we going?
Yeah.
And that is another one where the exit is pretty far from the entrance.
Yes.
Oh, very far.
That is really far.
Yeah, that's kind of a messy situation. Like if you have people that didn't ride it in your group and they're on those bleachers and they were going to like watch you, that's really far though from the exit.
Yeah.
That's a big walk. I mean, it's not as, nowadays everybody has cell phones, so that kind of takes care of it. But it's like back in the day, like, I hope you scouted that up beforehand because otherwise, you're lost for a while.
Well, or like if you don't bring your cell phone in.
Oh.
Yeah, you got
We're
that.
not, I mean, we ride together, so it doesn't matter. But if I didn't want to ride something, we'd be screwed.
Yeah, because you both need to have your cell phone.
Or I just know where the exit is because I've been with you before. But
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be screwed. But some average Joes might, non-enthusiasts.
yeah.
I was going to bring Ghost Rider at Knott's because
Oh,
that
no.
entrance is pretty far from the station.
It's funny that we find different ways to shit on that ride like all the time. Because I know we don't give the ride itself like a glowing review because it's just not. We're honest here and it's just not that great. And then like, I know we also shit on the queue in the queue episode because it's one of the worst offenders of the station wait.
Yes.
Of like the switchbacks, a full size boathouse of switchbacks in the station, and that is just really nasty. And now we're gonna pile on with and the entrance and exit are also spread apart, but they are. All this stuff is reasonable for us to bring up because it's all accurate. That ride offends you on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
And it's not terrible, but it's just for what it. You don't really hear about it anymore, but like 15 years ago, that ride was the shit. You used to hear about it all the time, and I don't know. We never really understood it totally. I always thought it was kind of overrated.
I think that's another one that I kind of actually liked, even though you guys were down on it. That was that big wood one.
Big wood and nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that one.
Okay.
I think.
But the queue was nasty, right?
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk about Hershey Park.
Okay.
There's nothing that's so we mentioned Comet with the entrance and exit fiasco.
Right. It's like the actual queue is fine, right?
The queue is fine. Yeah, it's actually kind of short. It's kind of small.
It's just if you want to rewrite it, it's like you're in a different land all of a sudden, and you're like, how do I get back to the entrance to Comet?
Yeah. The queue itself is actually undersized. Like on a crowded Saturday, it's always out the door.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I remember. Yeah.
People are always lining up just in the midway after a while.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bad.
But for rewritability, yeah, that sucks because you land in a different land.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with that park, it's you kind of have to get your bearings for a second and learn where you even are. And you're going to smell that popcorn that's right over there. You're going to stop and get some popcorn. And before you know it, it's a different day. It's what happened? My mind was in something else before, and now here I am.
Great Bear?
Other than that,
where do you exit for Great
Bear? You know what? That's not much better than Comet. It's the same land, but that's really just a technicality. you do exit out pretty damn far from where you go in.
Okay.
Actually, and like
You
and
exit
down
by like the rapids or some shit?
No,
No, not rapids.
rapids.
No. Shit.
The log flume.
Log
you mean?
flume. The
Yes.
other water ride.
You exit out next to like the entrance to the coal cracker, kind of,
Oh yeah.
and
No, that one's rough for rerideability too.
and you're down a hill at that point. Like you've gone down.
You got to trek up the hill.
Yeah, that is actually rough to reride. Again, kind of like Comet. The queue itself isn't so crazy, but
But if we're talking about rerides,
yeah, entrance exit is placement is poor.
yeah.
And then, well, I mean, okay, those are good deals. But I was thinking of Wildcat actually.
Ugh.
That was on my list because that actually is a deceptively bad queue.
Yes.
The queue itself.
The queue itself, yeah, it is kind of long. It's kind of out there. Like you gotta, like the building they built for the photo pickup and printing, which they don't even use anymore, from what we've seen actually in
Yeah.
recent years. It's like a very large building. It's like looks like bigger than it needed to be, and you gotta like walk around it to go both on the entrance and exit.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a giant switchback pad, and it's a large one. And
You can bypass most of that though. You can just walk on the outside.
you
of
can
it.
bypass it, yeah. But then there's a long series of ramps that you have to take to get to the station. It's not direct.
Yeah, that is a long walk.
And then the exit too is a giant bunch of ramps down.
Yeah. The exit's not as bad as the entrance, I don't think. But like if you are trying to reride, that's a long circle.
Yeah, that's a rough one to reride. All right. I mean, again, that was not a grab. I think we probably hit all the worst ones that we're going to think of.
I mean, Hulk is. If there was no one in that, it's still kind of rough because that's a lot of ramps. That station's pretty high.
Yeah.
I thought about that one earlier.
Oh, Kong is a little lengthy, but it's not that bad. Oh, you know what's kind of annoying? Tennessee Tornado. There's a lot of stairs and ramps. Stairs and ramps.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot going on there. I at the exit too, right? There's a lot of stairs at the exit.
Well, yeah, you're so high up, you have to come all the way back down again. That's a kind of a rough reride.
That is nasty to reride. Yeah.
And then, legacy mention, if if Mountain Slidewinder was still there, that's a pain in the ass because that's a hike up a mountain.
Well, that's and we've covered that recently because it went out recently. But I mean, that was just like a water ride walk up, though, really. And those are all bad. So,
Yeah.
like, if you want to do this kind of thing for a water park, it's like forget it. It's every ride.
Yeah.
It's just about every water slide you can think of fits this category of entrance and exit are like not well placed, and the walk up is ridiculous, and it's never worth like trying to do it again to rewrite it. Like for the most part, you do each water slide once in your visit and you're done.
Yeah.
With a rare exception like Volcano Bay's water coaster, which is awesome.
I was just gonna say Volcano Bay's water coaster and Hershey Park's water coaster wouldn't be terrible to rewrite if it wasn't 4 degrees all the time in their water.
That's a pretty good one too. Yeah. Like the water park water coaster is like maybe the one exception, but like all
But, like a legit slide, they're all awful.
yeah,
walks.
even the funnels and the bowls, like those are a lot of fun, but like it's tough to justify all that walking again if you did it once already that day, because it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. That's your water park episode on this. You sum that up in 3 minutes. That's about all you need there. No, I just thought of a good one though. Six Flags Over Texas, Judge Roy Scream.
Oh, that is a bad one. Oh, yeah, because you got to go out of the park.
You leave the park.
You got to go in a tunnel underneath the road that you took to get into the parking lot.
You tunnel under the parking, like where you wait to pay for parking, that area. Yeah.
Because some genius thought it was great to put the coaster outside of the park, like in front of the park on an island of grass.
Yes.
Like blocking the entrance to the park. Oh, it was like
stupid. Let's build a coaster for advertising. Like instead of having a billboard or like a fancy sign, we'll just have this roller coaster that would draw people in.
Yeah.
Like you're driving by on the main highway, you just see the coaster. It's like right there.
So basically, somebody was high when they decided where to put this. Is what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a long
Anus
walk.
win was being an anus. Angus Anus win. Because that ride goes back to the early days of that park, I believe, too. Not, didn't open with it, but it was not too long after, I don't think.
Yeah, 1980.
Oh, I thought it was 70s, but
Yeah,
okay.
that was a little later than I thought,
I'm a
too.
little surprised. All right.
Okay, so now my question is, how much stuff went in after that? They should have just built the park, anything new between.
But you couldn't because it was like the road.
Look up a picture of this. You got to see this. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so was it a good ride? Did
No,
you at least
no,
get an
no, and it
independent
sucks to boot.
No, it's a terrible.
Oh no!
it's that bad middle period of wooden coasters you may have heard us talk about,
Oh.
where it's just a nothing blah piece of shit 1980 roller coaster. It's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, the entrance is like the sign is the tunnel that you have to enter into. Yeah, it's a bad Rosser Cobb. Did they ever do anything good?
Oh, those guys, no. And it's like a terrible name, Judge Roy Scream.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Oh, that's right. They also did Great American Scream Machine at Over Georgia, and
Well,
Rolling
this is
Thunder at Great
one of the
Adventure.
words. Well, yeah, Rolling Thunder. And they
Scream-
did. Oh, they did. And they did a Scream Machine. Okay, so they totally suck.
Yeah, Screaming Eagle at St. Louis. I remember we really wanted to like that ride. That's maybe like the ride that we just wanted to like the most and just couldn't.
It's got potential. It's like there's a good ride there, and it's just a little off.
It's like it's just out of reach. It's so
I remember
frustrating.
it was the final takeaway last time. It was like if the first drop was just a little steeper or a couple feet higher or something, it would have been great. But it's like just off.
And we rode it like 4 times in a row too, or something. Like,
Yeah,
it's just I know it's right there. I can almost see it.
yeah, that's something else. That's bizarre. I'm glad I thought of that before we wrap this up because
Yeah.
that's a great one.
All right. Anything else?
All right. So, well, if there's anything that we forgot, comment somewhere. Write us. We welcome it. What do we got? Yahoo.com, right? Thanks for riding at yahoo.com.
Yep.
We're also very responsive to the Facebook page, even though the guys pretend that
We
they
are?
hate it.
What? Oh. Facebook. Okay. Sure. Write us on Facebook. We'll check it out for you.
Yeah. Also, go buy a shirt and like a mug and keychain. Do we have keychains?
Yeah, we did. Sure.
Do we have mugs?
Sure.
I don't know.
No, it's just a shirt and a mug.
It's
All right.
just a shirt and a mug.
Well, maybe when those start selling, we'll make more. So, buy one. This was a fun episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Check back. We're going to try to have some more content over the coming weeks as we're all deprived of our parks, of actually going to them right now. Just be safe, be good to each other, and
Stay 6 feet apart. And,
yes, dude, please, thanks for not riding, seriously. Even if, you have the chance, it's probably best to listen to good common sense and wait this thing out.
Wash your hands. Sing
Yes.
the alphabet song.
All
or
right.
Happy Birthday twice.
Or the thanks for writing theme song. We're still working on it, don't worry.
We'll make sure it's exactly 20 seconds long.
It's like patent pending. Okay, so thanks for writing.